What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the biggest crossover show of the year. We have a combination of DSM pregame live, which we will do every week for Eagles games, and also Turf Talk season kickoff show. So if you're watching this right now, guys, make sure to follow us on Twitter, first and foremost, at DSM_media is where you can find us. The link tree in our bio will take you to every social media platform we are available on: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that good stuff. But most importantly, if you want to be interactive throughout tonight's show or any of our live streams here, make sure to check out the YouTube links specifically. As you can see down on your screen right here, that is the DSM Philadelphia YouTube channel, which we are streaming the pregame version of the show on, all pregame versions, as well as the Faithful Fanatics show throughout the week. And then the YouTube link to the NFL Turf Talk YouTube channel is where you're getting your season kickoff show. So basically, we got a lot to get into.
Yes, sir.
We got Eagles, Cowboys, bets, predictions, all that good stuff on the pregame side of things. And then to wrap up the offseason version of Turf Talk, we're going to give you guys our playoff and Super Bowl predictions and whatever else you guys want to get into tonight, talking all things NFL and birds. I'm one half your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. My man, happy Thursday. Let's get to it.
Yes, sir. Happy Thursday. Happy season kickoff show. I'm happy to finally be here. I would say it's been a long summer, but I'd be lying, man. It's been a relaxing summer as an Eagles fan, quite honestly. Went to Mexico, got to the beach a few times, enjoyed some brews, and just simply celebrated that Super Bowl championship last season. It was very relaxing. I didn't feel like I had to get engaged with other fan bases, but I think I've had enough relaxation. I'm ready to engage, and I'm ready to get it going tonight.
I'm ready to go back to war.
I'm happy. I'm happy Thursday has finally arrived. I'm happy that the season start has finally arrived, man. Now we got a weekend full of football.
Yeah,
college and NFL.
While it's been a relaxing offseason, you are correct. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. I don't care how delusional your takes were. I don't care how much of a hater you are. You still can't tell the Super Bowl champs anything. But I'm ready to get back to it because for the first time in a long time, man, like, this has to be like the most not discredited Super Bowl team, but just picked apart Super Bowl team. Everybody has an issue with something, whether it's the quarterback and how he plays and where they rank this year and all this different stuff. I'm ready to get back into it. And as Martian would always say, if he's not in here right now, line that shit up. So let's get to it, bro. What are you looking at first and foremost tonight? Obviously, we got no starters in the preseason. I mean, Jahad Campbell played in the preseason. If he starts at linebacker tonight against across from Zach Bond, you got to start in the preseason.
Yeah,
but you didn't get Coop, you didn't get Quinyai, you didn't get Carter, Jordan, Nolan, all that stuff on defense. Obviously, we didn't see anybody on the offensive side of the ball. So what are you looking for on this Thursday night opener?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I'm looking for very early on is just the play calling offensively. I want to see, how balanced are we attacking? Are we giving the ball to Saquon 20, 25 times tonight? I came into this season not expecting the Eagles to do that. I came into this season expecting them to preserve Saquon this season and save him for the postseason where it's most important. They did the historic thing last season with the 2,000 plus yards. It would just be astounding for him to get up there again and potentially actually break that, that regular season record. But I just don't think they're going to be chasing that type of thing as much anymore. You've heard the message throughout the offseason. It's all team oriented. And so I am interested to see just how the balance goes. It's a new offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo. What's it going to look like? Do they lean on Jalen's arm a little bit more? Jalen's a little bit another season older, right? You want to take a little bit more off his legs from previous seasons as he gets older. I'm interested to see what this offense looks like. We enjoyed the play calling of Kellen Moore for most of last season. Does Nick Sirianni step in, right? Does more of the play calling go to Jalen Hurts at the line? Do we not give him enough credit for that? These are all things that I'm going to really, really focus and pay attention to tonight, specifically on the offensive end of things.
Yeah. First and foremost, when you bring up the last point about Jalen and the line and the pre-snap stuff, and obviously it's an area in which he excelled in last year compared to years past, right? But that's just the next step, right? Like there's not much more he needs to prove from a gameplay standpoint, Scotty. Like you and I know he throws a great deep ball. People can argue with a wall. You and I know he's a dual threat. People can argue with a wall.
Yeah.
They can use it. So there's not much he can do from an arm standpoint, from a dual threat standpoint that's going to change at this point in his career. It's just becoming that master of the line of scrimmage and knowing where you want to go before anyone knows what your first move is and picking apart defenses that way. So that's first and foremost. But it's interesting because as we're talking things out pre-show backstage and we're going over our gambling leans versus, and I'm trying to get my my keys to victory down. On one hand, I do agree with you, and I can see it loud and clear. Like it's very team oriented, but we know Nick loves to send a message.
Yeah.
And I could see them throwing the ball 34 times tonight and trying to have an air raid attack. And they can. That's how lethal this offense is. They have that ability to. Jalen has that ability to. But one of my keys I wrote down, and while that's where I'm leaning gambling-wise, Jalen passing yards, Smitty receiving yards, stuff like that, do what you do best.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a need to oversimplify it. Obviously, you don't want to run Saquon Barkley into the ground over the next year or two with the extension we've just given him.
Yeah.
But do what you do best, bro. And this is a Cowboys defense that could not stop the run last year. And then they go and trade away their best defensive players, you and I discussed on Turf Talk earlier. Nothing's going to change. They will not be able to come out and slow down your rushing attack, and they will not be able to slow down Saquon Barkley. So while I'm all for Jalen slinging it all across the field tonight and attacking that secondary and Trevon Diggs going for a pick and seeing AJ run down the right sideline again, do what you do best is my first key to victory. And if that's give the ball to 26 times, then that's what you do.
I do feel that. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at too. Like, do they get a little cocky tonight with the play calling? Can they afford to? Like, these are things that I'm going to look at tonight. Because like you said, Nick Sirianni, he can get, a little fool of himself and, go out there and maybe he does have Jalen throw it 35 times. There's the other side of the situation where the Cowboys may just sell out all hell to stop the run tonight and try to make an example of the Eagles in some sort, and then Jalen opens it up a bit.
Right.
So that's the other side of it. I feel you though. Staying true to your identity, I think that has to be a big part of it. The other thing with the offense that I'll look at, luckily we do get Landon Dickerson back tonight from the looks of it. He's in the lineup. But what's that new right guard look like, right? With Tyler Steen, he's looked great apparently throughout training camp. He's stepped in a bit last season as well. I believe Mekhi Becton dealt with some injuries last year, but that was a Super Bowl winning offensive line. What does the offensive line look like this year? Another year down the road for Lane Johnson. He hasn't shown signs of aging yet, but it's another year down the road for him. Jordan Mailata has proved to be one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL. You got Cam Jurgens locked up. Landon Dickerson's back. What does Tyler Steen add or subtract from this offensive line that contributes so heavily to what you just mentioned, running the football? So not only that, but protecting Jalen as well, right? But
the basics. Yeah. I think that's what the offensive game plan comes down to tonight. It's not overthinking it, not overcomplicating it, running the ball, using the best back in football, and then picking the secondary apart when you need to, right? But it's funny because we started offensively. There's just not that much to talk about when an offense is this talented and they're reloaded the way they are. Yeah. And if anything, this offense is added, right? Like you mentioned, Mekhi Becton could turn out to be a major blow at right guard, and Tyler Steen maybe gets beat up a little bit tonight. But offensively, it's another year of Jahan Dotson as the third wide receiver. They got the trade for John Mechie a couple weeks ago. He's going to be in the lineup tonight. That wide receiver room seems loaded. Goddard gets brought back when we didn't think he was going to be. All the pieces that need to be there offensively are there. So that top 5, that top 10 offense, that's all here.
Very
defensively, we go from number 1 to we'll see, because there's more holes on that side of the ball. Not that there's holes everywhere, but that's I think what you and I are focusing on tonight, right? It's been reported that Sidney Brown is going to get the start next to Reed Blankenship in that safety room, and Adoree Jackson is going to be CB2 next to or across from Quinyon Mitchell, right? Which is going to be huge against a Cowboys team in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and company.
Yeah.
In the linebacker room, Zach Bond's there. Jacoby Dean obviously starting on the PUP list. So what does that second linebacker look? Does Shahad Campbell play a lot? You lose Milton Williams and Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat. What is that? So a lot more holes. I know I didn't need to explain that to everyone. Any Eagles fan knows that. But that's where the eyeballs, that's where the attention goes to tonight. Is Vic Fangio's group ready for the test on night one?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, that's something that I would just, temper the expectations a little bit coming into the season. Game 1, game 2. We saw it last year, right? And I feel like last season we had similar holes in the team. Like, nobody knew what Zach Bond was. Like, we thought Zach Bond was going to be a top 50 NFL player last year. Like, I didn't see that coming, but it happened. And so I think we have room to be optimistic with this group, but also like give them time. I do think it's something to obviously keep an eye on. To your point, they put a lot of stock into Moro Ajomo. They put a lot of stock into Jalix Hunt. And quite frankly, they put a lot of stock into Nolan Smith as well, man, and being a premier pass rusher for this team. You saw a guy like BG step out, one of the veterans, one of the guys in the locker room that led through on the field and mentally. So it's interesting, but I do feel like some of the guys we've had in this defense for a while, the guys like Reed Blankenship, Jalen Carter's been here now, Jordan Davis has been here now, and then you got Zach Bond, who is a veteran, even though he's only been here for one season. I think they got guys at every level that can kind of lead the way to where it doesn't have to be so hard on, the coinciding part, right? Talking about Reed Blankenship versus Sidney Brown. The one thing that is interesting with that, we've obviously talked about CGJ over the offseason, and maybe I probably brought it up before, but he had 6 interceptions again last season somehow, man. Like, he had it the first year with us as well. He had 6 interceptions, turnover machine. So it's going to be hard for Sidney Brown
somewhere
to fulfill that. But yeah, like you mentioned on our previous show, man, Andrew Makuba, don't know if Vic said he's healthy and we could see him tonight. Like, from the reports and what he's saying.
I think it's going to be very similar to the Cooper DeJean thing of last year. I think people forget that too. You mentioned no one knew what Zach Bond was. Cooper DeJean wasn't in the lineup for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. I forget what week he
Quinyon Mitchell was a rookie.
Yeah. So you have to give it time, like Martian's saying. The defense is going to take time, and I'll get to that point in a second. The one thing I do love about everything publicly from Howie so far, I think he's been crystal clear. They're not done. Like, they're going to keep evaluating, and obviously that comes with the first couple weeks, the first month of the season, and I think he'll be aggressive as all hell. Dude, they have so much draft capital. If there is a glaring hole at CB2, at safety, and Makuba tries to play, and he's not ready yet, and the Sidney Brown experiment's not working again, I think he's going to be very, very aggressive because you are in a championship window. Now, that window might be 4 or 5 years long, but you are in the window right now. So you have to be aggressive when you have the chance.
Yeah, no. And 2 things I want to say there. I definitely agree. I think the other thing I was going to point out was CB2 as like that position where even if Quinyon is locked down, that position can still obviously get
glaring hole.
It's going to be a glaring hole if Adoree Jackson, Keely Ray, down the line, if these guys can't just, play up a little bit, right? They're not going to get the number 1 receiver most of the time, so you're not going to be getting
when you're facing an offense like tonight.
George Pickens, and that brings me to my other point, which not to like deflect from the defense, because I know we may want to focus on that a little bit more, but just looking at Martian's comment, and like this schedule, obviously it's a first place schedule. It's going to be tough. You're going to have some tough teams you run into. You're going to get their best shot as the Super Bowl champions. How big is this game tonight when you are going on the road to Kansas City? I can't even remember right now the first 4 games exactly, but it's like Kansas City.
Tampa Bay's in there somewhere.
Tampa Bay is always in there.
I'll pull it up right now for you. It's Dallas at Kansas City, Rams at home, at Tampa Bay, Denver at home. So to October 5th, it is a very difficult schedule filled with potential playoff teams.
Yeah.
After, obviously, we don't believe that this Cowboys team is with what they've done in the offseason and everything. But again, that division rival anyway, you're getting their best shot tonight, regardless, within raising a banner.
Yeah, no, I do agree.
It's a fair point, Marsha. And then, again, it's the first Blake you mentioned. You go beyond that. Yeah, you get a Giants team twice, but you're playing at Minnesota, at Green Bay. You get the Lions coming to town, at Chargers. You get at Buffalo. Like, it is a very, very, very difficult schedule for the Eagles. So any game where you come in as 8.5 point favorites is a game we need to be leaving with a win. Now, to get to this, to get to Martian's point here, and to get to the keys to victory on the defensive side, again, it's a very simple one. It's something you and I talk about. It's something, the old heads love to just get to the quarterback, but I think it's paramount tonight.
Yeah.
You knock on wood, you shouldn't have to worry too much about the rushing attack of the Dallas Cowboys tonight. Now, I don't want to overlook them. They shouldn't be overlooking them.
No.
Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue mix shouldn't be what your focus is on.
Yeah.
With the potential hole, I don't want to just count out whoever's being thrown in there tonight and Adoree Jackson, but with what we're expecting against this receiving core, Dallas is going to drop Dak back almost 50 times tonight.
Yeah.
You have to get after Dak Prescott. You have to get him off his mark, off his first read, so because what they'll do, it'll just be slant, out, and then bang.
It'll be horrible to watch.
And then all of a sudden we're going, oh my God, this CB is a problem.
Yeah,
To get to Dak, get to him quickly, get to him often, so he cannot pick apart that opportunity.
I do think, this is obviously a huge Jalen Carter night. Like, just like a coming out party for this season. This just feels like the season where he really, really takes off as one of, if not the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL. I just think it's a beautiful game to start with for him to make his name. 2-sack type of night, maybe a strip sack, something. Just making noise on the defensive line. The other thing that I could see tonight as well is if it does trend towards George Pickens, just no pun intended, picking on Adoree Jackson. I wouldn't be surprised if Vic maybe slides Coop DeJean out there to guard him, man. Like, you got to do what you have to do. And this is the part of the season where you do get to try different things. So if you need to see what Coop DeJean looks like on the outside, don't hesitate. Don't let it go too far. Is all I'm going to say.
Or if it's not working, funnel in. I keep forgetting.
Jacorian?
Yeah.
I may not have gotten
it. Might not even be correct. Actually,
that might not even be right, man.
I think that's what we said before, and Marshall was like, "No, different guy."
Bennett. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Could be way off.
I don't know if he'll be trusted that much, but maybe, man. They may try some different things tonight. Maybe they throw Keeley out there at certain points, right? Are we sleeping on Adoree at all? Is there any chance he could just be like a veteran corner?
I don't want to count it out and just be so negative right from the jump before he's even played a snap in the regular season. And he's a veteran. This isn't Kelly Ringo year 3 or something who hasn't gotten much playing time and George Pickens or CeeDee Lamb can have a field day with. This is a guy that's played in multiple organizations, both conferences, was a high draft pick. If you like, Adoree Jackson coming out of college to Tennessee was a stud. So it's somewhere in there. Maybe it might be deep, deep down, but somewhere in there, you get him in a big-time defense across from Quinyon Mitchell, maybe the kid can play a little bit. So we'll see. We do got a question from Martian before we continue with the defense. How well does Jalen lead this offense with the new coordinator again? I think it's huge. It's something that Scotty touched on a little bit earlier on in the show. Just continuing to dominate and progress pre-snap. From the moment you break that huddle to the moment you're walking to the line of scrimmage, surveying that defense, that's where he has to continue to become a master of his craft. And if he continues to do that tonight, he'll have full go of this offense all year long.
Yeah, and I think too, the point of Martian's other comment here, it's also on the coaching staff. It's on Kevin Patullo to not step out of, don't step out of the lane, right? Stay in your lane and do what you have to do to get the ball moving forward. And I think even if that means we have some growing pains on offense, it doesn't mean just go out there and throw the ball 35 times, right? Like if you get stuffed 3 times in a row with Saquon. It doesn't mean go away from it. And that's the main thing for me. Don't give Jalen the opportunity to go out and do that. But at the same time, a lot of it does go on Jalen at this stage in his career. He's no longer that, third year quarterback, fresh in the play. And it's not like that anymore. This is a veteran. So yeah, he needs to come out and lead from the first. Let me take the offensive coordinator out of it. Actually, I take that back. He needs to actually help the offensive coordinator, not the other way around. I would put it. I would take it as far as
that. I'll bring the offensive coordinator back into the equation. Two things that I don't want to see tonight that we're going to see tonight, and we're going to see in every week from every school, from every college to NFL team to every high school, because they all do it, and it's the dumbest freaking set of play calls known to man. And you're going to see it tonight, and you're going to be just as pissed. If you throw the ball on 1st and 10 and it's incomplete, for the love of God, do not run the ball on 2nd and 10. It's all the time, bro. And guess what? I know we have Saquon Barkley, and I know
predictable
on any account, but that 2nd and 10 run is at best 3rd and 6. You're not putting your offense in a position to move forward, and this is the second one. But I'll add on to it. I'm cool with a wide receiver screen, Scotty.
Yeah.
If I see a wide receiver screen with Devontae Smith as the lead and only blocker on that side of the field
for Jahan Dotson,
I will lose my mind. 3 defensive backs swing over here, but we got Smitty out in front, and this play goes for -2 yards.
Can we see?
Oh, help me.
Can we see a Saquon Barkley screen? Can we do that? I would like to see a little Saquon slip screen.
Little slip screen of Dallas Goedert when he pops back from the line. Something.
It'll be Will Shipley. Will Shipley will get the slip screen randomly.
I wouldn't even care.
I wouldn't either, though.
But I wouldn't even care. But just the wide receiver screen out to the far side of the field with Smitty as the lead blocker, I cannot take it. So I don't need to see it tonight.
No.
But getting back to the defensive side of the ball, getting to Dak Prescott is paramount. The other things, Martian kind of touched on it. Again, we're sticking to the basics tonight. It's week 1. It's banner night. Limit mistakes on defense. Because if you do what you did in Brazil last year, the miscommunications between CGJ and Slay on the back end, the missed tackles in the secondary, the stupid penalties, this team will put points up on the board. Like they will make you pay at some point if you give them too many opportunities. So limit the mistakes on defense. Wrap up, drive your guy to the ground, be keen up here in the secondary, and you'll be good. This defense with Vic Fangio, regardless of the new faces and new places, is still going to be one of the best in the league, even from the jump tonight. Just limit the stupid mistakes, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. And I'm glad you brought it back to the defense, because what I was looking up James Bradbury just to see, right, when he came over to the Eagles. And so he was probably roughly around the same age as Adoree Jackson. And I mean, take it or leave it. We got one good season out of James Bradbury, and maybe we could get that out of Adoree Jackson. And that would be a nice surprise tonight. The other thing is no Nakobe Dean. So where do you go with that?
So I'm glad you brought it up, and it's what I saw in the last week of practice, and it's who I think gets the nod tonight. And I was going to ask you this. I'm going to take you back to draft night.
Yeah.
Defending Super Bowl champs.
I know where you're
last
going.
pick of the first round. And this stud falls to us. And it's the talk of the town. It's the steal of draft. How do you let the rich get richer? And I feel like as the offseasons progress, like you said, we've been just sitting on our high horse all offseason. We haven't been ready to go back to war yet. Are we not underselling, but are we just not talking about this defense adding Jahad Campbell enough? Everyone's so focused on the Milton Williams or the Brandon Graham retirement and Josh Sweat, and no one's talking about you got one of college's premier edge rushers added to this defense.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, man. You look at it, and I
And it's
think
being slept on a little bit.
maybe a little bit is, just because there was a little bit of uncertainty that he would even start the season. So it's like a nice surprise. I do get your point, though. I think it should be talked about a little bit more. If he can come in and have an instant impact, if you can just simplify his role for him a little bit to start the season here, he could be a nice surprise. I don't even know if you call it a surprise, man. Like, you get him at the end of
Not
the first
supposed to
round,
be.
like,
Yeah.
it's not really a surprise if he makes an impact. So yeah, I would like to see what he's got tonight. The other guy that I thought you may have been talking about, and maybe this is just ESPN's depth chart. I know these
Trotter.
positions are a bit off.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr., right? So
I think I saw that Jahad Campbell was getting the first team reps next to Zach Bond last week in like the practice week or whatever.
okay.
I haven't checked in a couple of days. I don't know what's been going on.
My feeling is that they probably both play a little
Yeah.
bit. They probably they both get some work. It's interesting how Trotter's coming along. You got Smile Munden Jr. back there as well, who had a pretty good preseason and training camp. So they got some options, man. It's interesting. You think of Nakobe Dean as one of the leaders in that defense, but maybe it kind of lends some space for Zach Bond to really control the middle of the field there, and him step up and be that guy. Because I think the thing with Nakobe, man, is obviously he showed flashes as he's been on the field, but there is a lack of being on the field to an extent. And so I do think you need guys that are going to be there going forward, right? Because Nakobe's just not a sure thing. As much as I love him, and he's a great leader, but if Jahad Campbell can be somebody, if Trotter Jr. can be somebody, if Zach Bond can just be consistent and just be what he was last year, or maybe not even to that level, because that was Defensive Player of the Year type of performance last year. Maybe just a little bit below that, right? Like, not enough to say take a step back, but it doesn't have to be as spectacular, man. Just be consistent, be a sure tackler, be at the right place in the right time. And I think we could have a good unit here. I'm trying to temper my expectations because I know what Vic Fangio can do. I know what he can put together, but it is game one. There are some new pieces. This is with the idea that Jahad Campbell hits the ground running. Maybe he has a rough start. Who knows? But
correct. With that said, man, defensively, who are you looking to kind of stand out tonight? Who's your standout star on that side of the ball?
Man, at the beginning of the show, my mind went to a guy on the defensive line. I even named him earlier in the show. But I'm gonna go with Reed Blankenship.
Does he have another one of his sliding forward, game sealing?
Talk about being in the right place, right time. He does seem to just be there whenever the ball is overthrown. So yeah, I think he could make a game-changing play. He's headed towards an extension. First time named captain on the roster. I just think this is a big moment for him as well to kind of staple his name as a leader on this defense. And like we've talked about all offseason, CGJ did walk out that door. He's on the Texans now. Not literally, he got traded, I know, but you know what I mean. He's not here anymore. And Reed is the veteran that's been here in that secondary. Like Quinion, yes, is great. He's a better player. Coop, great player, right? But
Reed's got to be the leader in that.
He's the veteran there. He's the experienced guy on this roster. You got a Dory back there to help you out a little bit, but you're the guy. So
no, I agree, man. I'm going to stay on the defensive line because, again, if you couldn't tell with the keys, I think that's where this game's going to be won and hopefully dominated. And I'm just going off of from what we've been hearing all offseason and in camp and hoping it translates to real and in-game success. I'm going to go with Moro Ojomo as my standout star and see if that name becomes a household name from the jump, getting in Dak's face. Maybe it's a sack. Maybe it's a strip sack, or maybe it's getting up in his face, hands up, and deflecting a ball that gets picked off for Reed Blankenship or something. But I think Moro Ojomo will impact this game, and I think they need him to, man, because you mentioned Jalen Carter, and he's that guy, right? He's arguably the best defensive tackle in football already, and I remember saying last year, seeing the report that he doesn't even understand the position fully yet, and that's just how talented and strong he is. But you look around and you do talk about and notice the guys that produced at a high level last year are gone. And
Yeah.
you look to the youth, and you look to Nolan Smith, and you look to Mario Jomo, and you look to a Jalen Son. I think obviously Nolan Smith is the guy that people will look to first and foremost, but I think Jomo is the hand in the ground type of guy, is the one that's going to have to kind of step up a little bit and replace that. I think he has to replace that Milton Williams type of role on this defensive line.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's a great pick. It just brings to mind, we have not talked about Jordan Davis at all. No. Like, maybe all offseason. This is a big season for him. Like, this is a career-defining season, if you want to call it that. As far as at least continuing his career with this team, right? Mm-hmm. And so, man, he's going to have to step it up. I think that room being so talented is something that can, obviously everybody's got to eat. It motivates you. Ty Robinson looked like a monster in preseason, but he looks like he can contribute immediately, and they like to rotate guys.
Right, but, and then you have two guys in Uche and Azeez Ojulari. If one of those two can work out.
We haven't talked about them. Yeah.
If one, I don't both would be a godsend, right? Coming off the edge, both of those vets coming in and making an impact. But if just one of Ojulari or Josh Uche pans out as a signing this year, that is a win for this team. So they both, obviously there were questions if they, who's going to make the roster cuts. They both make it. So hopefully they show up tonight in a big way, dude.
Yeah.
Offensively. Who do you like to stand out tonight? Because this is where things get difficult, Scotty. See, defense is fun because we can pick some interesting names. Offensively, it feels like every goddamn name we're going to choose is duh.
Like they could have, to your point,
or let you down, or not get the ball because there's so many other guys.
Because the guy that I'm going to name, it's like he could have a dud of a night and the Eagles still win by 10 plus points. Like it could happen for sure, but I just have a feeling. I put his jersey on tonight. It's something with Smitty tonight. He didn't make the NFL top 100. You think, these other guys are hungry to prove themselves. Saquon, who comes first, hungry to prove himself further, and Jalen to prove himself. I think Smitty is just that guy that kind of continues to be slept on to the point where other teams don't even disrespect him that much, right? How AJ and Jalen and Saquon, they get kind of disrespected by opposing fans. Smitty doesn't catch that heat from what I see, which is almost like a lack of respect type of thing. So I would love to see him shine tonight, and I do think he just shows up in a big way tonight, similar to the way he put that dagger in the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and that's been talked about a lot in the last 24 hours. I feel like so it feels right that we see something similar to that tonight. I'm going with Smitty to have a big night.
Yeah, and that play specifically has been talked about a lot because it leads directly into my guy. And I know, taking the captain of the ship, it's the easy way out here. But we don't know that because we don't know if he's going to throw the ball 16 times or 36 times.
Yeah.
I'm leaning closer towards the latter. Do I think they throw the ball 36 times? No. But I think they do let Jalen throw the ball 30, 31 times tonight. Drop him back a couple times, use his legs. I'm going with Jalen because I think there's no coming out party. There's no more questions to be answered. If you don't like him, you don't like him. You're just a hater. The dude is the reigning Super Bowl MVP. Argue with the wall behind me. But I do think there is something to the swagger of him, the swagger of Nick, the new OC and Kevin Patullo, the rivalry, the bad, just everything. I can see it being a Jalen spray it all over the field type of game, more so than giving Saquon 28 carries. Either way, I'm good. I'm good if you stick with what you do and Saquon has 200 yards.
Yeah.
I'm good if Jalen throws for 290 and 3 touchdowns. I'm predicting it's closer to the latter and that it's going to be a pass-happy type of night. Like you said, I think, not that you have anything – you shouldn't care about what other people say, how your offense is ran, but it's just a little message.
Yeah.
But the message, I'm just getting ahead of myself because the message happened in the Super Bowl.
Well, no.
In case anyone forgets, the Chiefs did stop the run, and they still got belt to ass. So
I think to your point, like with Jalen, I think like even if he doesn't pass the ball 30 times tonight, it's like his decision making. It's what goes
Right.
under the
Right.
goes under the table when Jalen
Like,
gets talked
what
about
if
for
he's
whatever reason.
21 of 26 tonight for 260 and 2 passing touchdowns? Like,
I'm just thinking about even the opportunities for Saquon
yeah,
sometimes on these option plays where Jalen just has to make the decision to hand it off, or he can take it on his own, run it, maybe he can throw it. So it's just those game management type of situations as well that you're going to watch. He's matured another season in the NFL. He's a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP now. It's going to be interesting to see where he can take his game to the next level, to your point.
yeah, I
So
agree.
I'll be we'll obviously so I'm going to be watching this closely. Yeah, I'm going to be watching the fucking game close as fuck. So like I'm fucking ecstatic for tonight, man. I told you earlier, like I was drinking way too much caffeine because I was just like trying to get juiced up, like I'm about to go
That
play.
is a good point. Where's Jalen Hurts going? To be consistently dominant. That's what
Exactly, man. I'm juiced for it. Let's go. Because
look at some of our leads.
that will result in Smitty getting some love. So that works out for both of us.
Speaking of Smitty, I mean, he comes into some of our leans tonight. So before we get into our Super Bowl picks and have some fun across the NFL, it's so tough. It's like Christmas Eve. You're waiting for the game to come on. You want to bet everything.
Yeah.
The problem is not trying to bet for fun, Scott. I'm trying to bet. Okay. So I'm looking at this. Oh, I like this person's score. I like this person's score. I like his yards. I like those yards. I like the team total. And it's just too much. And you're never, ever going to take that much from the house all in one swoop. So how do we limit this? I'm already on Barkley Tutty because it was boosted yesterday. Maybe I'll use another boost on it. Jalen's boosted today on DK. I know we were talking about that. Both could easily score. Are both boost on the same net or like on the same sports book going to hit. It's difficult. So I'm in a little bit of a pick your poison pickle there. I have two over yards bets that I'm trying to decipher which one I like more, and they go hand in hand. And it's both of our standout stars. Jalen over 215.5 passing yards. Obviously, there's games last year where he threw for 170 and they didn't throw the ball a lot and they chewed up clock. And that could damn sure happen tonight. But when a number's that low with the weapons we have and the message I think we're trying to send, it's just too good not to do. And then hand in hand is your guy. And that's Devontae Smith. 50-plus receiving yards is at minus 129 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
You want to talk about disrespectful. And again, but there's games where he has 2 catches for 30 yards. But how do you not just take a shot and say, 50 yards is all I need? That's one catch potentially from Devontae Smith.
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's tough because you wonder if Devontae has that dud, but I don't know. I've been going back and forth myself, man. I know I've told you my gut feeling with Smitty touchdown. The problem with that is that I have already laid Jalen for a touchdown on a boost, laid Saquon for a touchdown on a boost. I'm lucky if those two guys score on the same night. Laying a third guy for a touchdown, it just feels like foolish to an extent. I do have a no sweat to use, but it's just like, man, could just use it on Jalen yards. Jalen yards is what calls me from, what you were just talking about. Because it just, it does cover in case AJ just has a historic game. Right. Maybe he goes for 200 receiving yards by himself, right? And I say that I've seen just crazier shit happen. That like you got to remember some of those duds last year, man. When we tried to go certain player props, it just sucks because the Eagles team totals and the Eagles team props are just so juiced themselves. And I'll throw it back to you again, man. The Jalen 2 passing tutties. It's like,
look, because. It is so difficult, bro, because obviously we're going to get to the prediction and the Eagles are going to win this game. But 8.5 is a big number, and 8.5 is a big number in week 1 against a division rival that obviously is looking to take you down and give you its best shot. We haven't seen Jalen versus Dak in a while, and that's been a topic of conversation. And with those receiving weapons, so I like them to win. 8.5 is a big number.
Yeah.
If you did like them to win by 9 or more, then you're just getting into team total territory because what are the Cowboys only going to score like 14 points to? Like, if you think the Cowboys can score like 17 to 20 and you think the Eagles are covering, now you're talking Eagles close to 30 or over 30. And that's where we just get tossed around because
it's when they put it at 28.5. It's
right,
just like
it's a lot, bro. It is a lot. And even
then
if
you may as well go 30.
27.5, they'll end at 27 and kick a field goal when you need a
Yep.
touchdown at the end. And it's
You're so right. Yeah.
It's a tricky line for night one, which is why I'm leaning more towards player props tonight.
I think Jalen's passing yards, man. It just feels like you said, a statement. You know, Saquon's odds are juiced. You can't lean there. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts passing yards is the play, man.
Are we giving this the pregame stamp of approval? This is the bet. Jalen Hurts over 215.5.
It's like then he'll have 2 passing touchdowns and 175 passing yards. You know what I mean? Like, but yes, I say that, but no, it goes against what I do believe is going to happen this season in general, and that's Jalen get more opportunities to throw the ball. You're going to see more defenses zone in and hone in on Saquon Barkley like the Kansas City Chiefs did in the Super Bowl. Right. Not every team will be as successful as Kansas City, obviously, but just the fact that they're trying it, the fact that they will leave their corners out there one-on-one with like AJ or Smitty, I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities this season starting tonight. And I think that's the play, man. As we're talking through all of that, I'm just thinking through my head, like what would happen in all of that, right? Like if they scored 29, 30 points, I imagine Jalen's going for over.
Right, but that's where the line gets so tricky because they're not scoring 29. That number, I don't know what the scoregami looks like for the number 29 in football.
Yeah.
But 29 is not a common number you're ending on, right? So then you're talking 30. You're talking 30 plus.
30. Right? And what would you say 31 is more common than 30? Would you?
Probably.
I would like to see the numbers on that.
Brian not feeling confident. I kind of.
Why is that, Brian?
Just let us know. Yeah,
I'm interested.
I'm not gonna come at you for this one. It's all right to feel nervous.
I will say this. I'll say this. It feels weird playing the Cowboys first game of the season.
Let me tell you what I
never get this opportunity. I feel like.
Let me tell you 2 bets that I like on any other week, but obviously I'm not betting it against the Eagles on opening night.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, the Cowboys plus 8.5 or 9, and the Cowboys over 19.5 team total is where I would go.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I'm not doing it. The Eagles are. I'm 100% confident the Eagles are walking out with a win tonight. I'm not confident they cover a 9-point spread.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I really do. I do just think they're just better than the Cowboys. I think it's the talent over threat, and rival. Like I just think it's one of those things where, you think the Cowboys are going to come out backs against the wall tonight without Micah Parsons and just play their asses off. But what if they don't? What if they come out and they're just not as talented
here to
after the quarterback?
There's 2 things here for Brian, right? That I would just rebuttal with. Dak didn't play in either game last year, right? Against us. I know the last week when we wore the Kelly Greens, he definitely didn't. And I don't know if he played when we played them in. We smoked them both times. I don't think he played in either one.
I don't think he did.
But so my point, the reason I bring that up is that means Dak Prescott has torched defenses that weren't coached by Vic Fangio, that didn't have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, that didn't have this version of Jalen Carter, so on and so forth. So that's the only rebuttal. I do hear what you're saying. He has cooked us
that's fair.
in the past.
He didn't play against us last year.
We talked about it earlier. Is for real. Like, that is a concern going in. I don't want to write them off, but that is a glaring hole if this defense has some right now. Yeah. And the other thing is, let's say the Eagles defense is a step slow tonight, and Dak does have a successful night, and the Cowboys do score. Then the Eagles are just going to score 35. Like, if they want to, because they don't have the defense to go on the road and stop our offense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
sure. Dak might throw for 340 and, protect the ball and they score 30 points. Well, then we'll just go score 31. Like, I'm not fearful that they're going to get into a battle against us and come out on top. They don't have the playmakers on defense. They can't stop the run. I'm not fearful that way.
Yeah, I feel that, Brian. I hope he doesn't hold the ball, man. You know what I mean? Like, I hope the Super Bowl MVP comes out and plays at a even higher level this season.
Correct.
Plays like a mature quarterback as well, man. He's another year older. So yeah, I do want to see him elevate his game to an extent. Yeah, I don't want to see him holding the ball either, man. But I agree with you, Dylan. I think tonight the one consistent will be the offense. The one consistent will be moving the ball down the field and scoring points. The defense, I think that's all fair. I think Adoree Jackson, that's fair. It's a fair concern.
It's where the new faces are. It's where some of the lesser talent is.
We're trusting our pass rush. We got to see it first. There's no Josh Sweat. We lost Milton Williams. You lost a Brandon Graham. We saw Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt. We saw these guys come through down the stretch last year. Be consistent. Do it again this year. We got to see all of that. That's all fair. But Jalen Carter is a monster. He's going to wreak havoc. I think that's going to happen. I think Quinyon's going to do what he needs to do.
Agreed.
But no, so I feel if you're nervous in the sense of like covering the spread, like, yeah, I think that's fair. I think it could end up a close game, but I just trust the Eagles to be able to close out a game better than the Cowboys at the end of the day. So.
Right. Put it this way: even if you are nervous, even if you have a bad gut feeling that about this team or the whole
game one
that you fear, whatever. One is the Super Bowl champion. One is the Dallas Cowboys. So, like, even if you're still fearful from the Eagles end, there's nothing to be confident in on the Dallas
end. Yeah. No, I
just don't get out of their own way. And that's continue this offseason. But with that said, let's cross it on over to the other portion of the show, and this is the NFL topic. This is just our season kickoff, playoff predictions, Super Bowl predictions, and picks, and all that good stuff, man. So, pretty difficult. I'm not going to lie, because the depth in both conferences I don't love, specifically the NFC. The AFC is very top-heavy, and then I like about one wild card team potentially, and then it's just a crapshoot at that point. How do you want to do this? You want to go 1 through 7 seeds, 7 through 1? What are you liking?
We can go 1 through 7. That's fine.
All right. So in the NFC, I have the Eagles as the 1 seed. I have the Packers at 2. I have the Bucks at 3. I have the Rams at 4. As my wildcard teams, I have the Detroit Lions. I think the Packers will get them by a game or the head-to-head matchup, whatever deciphers that in the NFC North. I had the Commanders at 6. Yes, I called them the most overhyped and overrated team earlier. It is a weak NFC at the bottom. I still think they'll win enough games with that schedule to get into the postseason. 7's where it got difficult and weird, dude. And if I'm being honest, I couldn't look at another division outside of the NFC West. And I pinpointed 2 teams. I don't know how I ended up here. This is purely schedule-based. I have the San Francisco 49ers.
Interesting.
Purely off of the lack of schedule they play this year. I think they'll win enough games to creep in the back end of the NFC. I don't trust J.J. McCarthy to lead that Vikings team. It basically came down to Seattle and this 49ers team for me, man.
Yeah.
And I looked at that schedule one more time and I said, oh, wow. Even with the lack of skill position players and the losses on defense, they might win 9 or 10 games.
And you had the Commanders at 6, right?
Yes.
Interesting, man. We got the same top 6, like, in exact order. Like, I won't even lie to you.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. I am kind of on like the Packers train this year. I don't know, man. It's like it's the pedigree. It's the construction of the roster. It's how they approach the construction of the roster. Defensive line, running the football, cold weather team, great fan base, great home field type of advantage. And that defense does have some studs across the board. Now you add like a top end talent. Micah Parsons does a lot more for Green Bay than what he would do for Dallas, in my opinion.
For sure.
And yeah, I'm not sleeping on the Packers. I don't think I really was. But yeah, to be clear, I have them going to the NFC Championship against the Eagles.
All right, I like
Ultimately.
it.
But yeah, the only team that we had different was the 7 seed, and I did go a different direction in the same division, man. And I just went outside of the box. I don't know. It's
Cardinals?
weird.
Yeah.
I
mean,
went with the Cardinals, man. I don't know.
Talk about it on the West breakdown.
It's weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's like some Jonathan Gannon like fascination. I really don't know why I linked that way. But I wrote down the Vikings as well. I think they could be good. It just highly depends on JJ McCarthy. Everybody from camp and on TV, everybody's saying this guy looks like the real deal. So Vikings offensively, they could be really good. We'll see. But I went with the Cardinals ultimately.
Huh? I like it. I just, until I see it, and again, I could see it in 2 weeks. I have no idea. But I don't trust the kid to do it. Obviously, you get to the NFC South, outside the Bucs winning that division, and there ain't nobody sniffing the playoffs in that division.
Yeah, no.
And then it basically, that was essentially
San Fran's a good sleeper pick, man. We could all be sleeping on San Fran this year. They come out, reestablish themselves defensively with Robert Saleh back at the helm. And, Brock Purdy figures it out with the crew. And maybe CMC stays healthy, right? Like
that's the biggest thing for me. If he doesn't stay healthy, they don't stand a fucking shot in hell at going for a playoff spot. But,
fair.
We'll play the law of averages and say he plays a lot of football games this year. The AFC.
Yeah.
I'll let you read this list. Picking the 1 through 4 in terms of record-wise was very difficult for me, so I'll let you go.
Okay. I went chalk, man. I went Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Texans. I don't know. Like, the Ravens could get the number 1 seed. It just shouldn't be their goal, man. I just don't think it could be any part of their goal. Whereas, like, the Chiefs, I feel like they're going to have a chip on their shoulder this season. They took a massive L on the biggest stage that you could take it. It was embarrassing for their standard. And I do think they'll come out and they'll play with a point. They had a great record last year, regular season. They were great last year. I just think them with the chip on their shoulder, they'll go out there, they'll win the bye week first round and control their own destiny. You got the Ravens at the 2 seed. I think they're clearly the second best team in the AFC as I, really start to think through it. I've had some contemplations about the Steelers and such, but I just come to the conclusion, like, yes, Josh Allen and the Bills, the MVP, blah, blah, blah. We watched it in the playoffs, right? And we'll get to see it week 1 with the Bills and the Ravens, but I'm just not taking that Bills team over the Ravens, man. Like, I just am not. Like, I can't right now. I would have to see it, and we'll get a chance to week 1. And then the Texans, I think, kind of by default, I'm just a little skeptical of them. I think they will have a great defense. But the offense last season was just kind of like, they dealt with some injuries for sure. That definitely cost them, but I don't know. I need to see something from CJ Stroud this year. I want to see him bounce back and have a strong season, and we'll go from there. 5 through 7, bro. I went Steelers number 5. I think they're going to be the team that's right there. I had thought about them competing with the Ravens for the division. I couldn't bring myself to it.
It is all number 8 dependent.
Yeah, quite honestly. Number 6, I went Broncos. I think they continue their growth in a sense. What were they, the 7 seed last year?
Yeah, I think so.
So that would be growth for them, the 6 seed. Minimal steps at a time. But I think, once again, they have a great defense. They have great players at every level of their defense. Bo Nix can take another step. We'll see what they can do. And then the 7 seed is where I did have a little bit of trouble.
Yep.
Gut feeling, I went Bengals.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, weird. I know it. And then you know what's even weirder is my sleeper. It's the Patriots, man. I just, in that division, if they can just beat the Dolphins and the Jets consistently, that's 4 wins. If they can that's asking a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if I had to throw a dart in the dark, I would hope. I wouldn't be mad if it landed on the Patriots with the 7 seed. But Bengals will be my pick. I'm looking at the prolific offense. I'm looking at Joe Burrow. Can the defense get worse
That's
than
literally
it was last year?
like,
But is it? It might. I mean, it could.
I laughed, and I get it. Like, you're talking about that offense. You're talking about the reigning Triple Crown winner. You're talking about an MVP candidate in Joe. T. Higgins gets paid. Chase Brown's fine. Like, that offense is going to be that offense. Is it really feasible for the defense to be worse or that level of bad as they were? Like, they can't just be a little bit better, because
Like
that's
a little
the
bit,
funniest
you know?
part about last year's team, dude. They were so bad that if they're one possession better in like 4 games,
Yeah.
their record looks a lot different. So
They would
I
have made the playoffs.
don't think it's as crazy as what you're saying. I just don't know. Looking at the defense, I know they end up paying Trey Hendrickson. Is he going to have 17 and a half sacks again, or is there going to be regression there? So I won't trust it yet. The other team, the Patriots, the shot in the dark, I love it. I love the shot in the dark with the Cardinals. We are – well, I was going to say we were even in the wild card, but we don't have the same 7 seed.
Both of those teams will be horrible. Watch.
My 1 through 4, I have the Texans. I'll give you this. I have the Texans at 4. I have the Steelers at 5. I have the Broncos at 6. So we're locked in there.
Yeah.
There's no rhyme or reason for this. It's just a gut feeling, because I feel like in the top 3 of those teams, there's been a different AFC Championship host for the last couple of years. The Ravens lost 2 years ago. Whatever. I got the Bills at 1. And not because I think they're the best team. I don't. I look at the schedule. I look at the Bills and Ravens have a very eerily similar schedule, like a lot of common opponents. And the Chiefs have some common opponents with them as well. The Bills have that division. Like, I'm banking on 5 or 6 wins just from that division.
Yeah.
I think just at the end of the day, number-wise, they'll win enough games and they'll fold in the postseason. To who, I don't know. But no, I don't think that team's good enough to get to the Super Bowl unless they make a trade in that wide receiver room. At 2, I had the Ravens. Like, on paper, I think they're the most stacked team in the AFC.
Yeah, that's fair.
But with that schedule, you play the Steelers twice. You do have to play Joe Burrow twice. There's just a lot of competition there. But those teams open up week 1. So that's going to be a huge game itself on Sunday Night Football. 3, I had the Chiefs. I was going to kind of flip things around when I looked at the Chiefs schedule, but it's not that easy either. Like, there's a lot of common opponents. Obviously, they had the Eagles week 2. The Bills had the Eagles late in the season. So it's pretty difficult as well. They play the Broncos twice. They're going to have to play the Chargers twice, which who cares? But still, Texans, Steelers, Broncos. And I wrote down 2 teams as well, and I don't like either of the teams, and I have no idea about either of the teams. I have the Chargers under Harbaugh running the football like they did last year. Herbert's fine in the regular season. So can they win 10 games, 9 games, and get to the 7 seed? Sure. The other team, the Raiders, there's a lot of hype surrounding this team. Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, the weapons. We'll see. So I really don't have a clear-cut 7 in the AFC. I think that was probably the hardest thing. Well, both 7 seeds were hard. Yeah. But
7 seeds, they're hard. They're new, it's just different. Like, you can sneak into a 7 seed.
Yeah, for sure. Look what we did in 2021.
Yeah, literally.
Nick Sirianni did not know what the term run the football meant for 8 weeks, and then all of a sudden we were a playoff team.
So I'm just looking. Okay, so both 7 seeds. Dang, did the 7 seed in the NFC, the Packers, they had 11? Yeah. They had 11 wins last year. Okay. I was thinking maybe you could get in with, like 9, but both conferences. Well, Denver was 10-7, Pittsburgh was 10-7. So interesting.
I think you'll have a little less competition this year because you had the Vikings last year as well as the Lions and the Packers with like 14 and 13 wins and everything like that. So I don't think you're going to have that much competition. To HP's point, man, I got to find a way to quit this guy. Like, the moment that Aaron Rodgers signed with the Jets, I said, hey, Eagles, Jets, Super Bowl in 2022. And I got the NFC opponent right, but I came nowhere near the torn Achilles or ACL of Aaron Rodgers on that Monday night game. And it didn't work out. And he's 2 years older further than this. And he's had that injury and surgery. But this is the team that is like, they're the sneaky outsider.
They're itching at you. Yeah.
Everyone had, like, it's the Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. It's been that conference. It's been that way for the last 3-4 years. But this Steelers team, something's been missing, and it was always the quarterback. And last year they kind of fixed that, but not quite enough. Well, now not only did they do that, you add in you pay Jalen Warren and they draft the other kid. I can't remember the running back's name that they brought in, but you're gonna have a dual threat that's not Najee Harris there, or a duo, excuse me, not dual threat. You bring in DK Metcalf, and they are so effing stacked defensively. Now maybe it's given Dream Team vibes, and it's a couple guys are too old and things aren't going to work out. Slate's cooked, whatever. But dude, that defense on paper, has potential to be the number one defense in the National Football League this year.
And they generally just are, usually. You know what I mean? Like,
they're already a top 6 unit. Regardless.
Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you. The Steelers they have something there. It does. It heavily depends on Aaron Rodgers, man. What form, what version of him? Do you get a locked in Aaron? I think for the Steelers, I don't feel like they would play around with that. If he wasn't serious, if he wasn't locked in and in great shape coming into the season, I just don't see the Steelers dealing with that.
Apparently, like, the relationship that he has with Mike Tomlin, like, that got him to go there from years in the past. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Mike Tomlin's very respected. You think Rodgers going to go there and fuck around under him? But dude, I mean, I'm just looking at the depth chart again. Like, Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter, Juwan Thornhill, Deshaun Elliott, Darius Slay. That's just the secondary. Chark Clark's back there as a backup safety at this point. Patrick Queen, Alex Highsmith, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, excuse me.
Yeah,
they're gross, dude. And Hunter, that's it, right? Like, that is
very fair. Yeah,
that is the question mark. That is the unknown. Like, what is he at this point? Obviously, last year, all the nonsense. They go out, they trade for his buddy in Devontae Adams, and they do nothing with it. So he could be absolutely nothing. But yeah.
No, I agree with you. It's definitely a team I'm not sleeping on them this year, at least. I do think they'll be good. Who you got in your AFC Championship? We don't have to go game by game or anything.
Yeah.
We can just do the conference championships. Do you got a Super Bowl winner?
Come on. My AFC Championship, I am going to go with the Ravens and the Chiefs.
Same.
And I guess I will give Lamar Jackson the nod here, and he finally gets over the hump.
I did too. Yeah.
We're on the same page here. And in the NFC, I don't want to copy yours because I know you leaked it earlier that they go there. I got Eagles, duh. But if I'm being honest, bro, I just don't know if I see, like, just logically thinking, right? Like, not saying the Lions can't or won't do it, but if you didn't do it last year, how am I supposed to want to pick you right now? And I know that shouldn't be the logical thinking. You want to think outside the box, whatever. The Rams, I've had enough of their fan base and their revenge game in week 3. The Commanders can all suck it. The Bucs aren't getting to the NFC Championship game, and Niners damn sure aren't getting there. So give me the Birds and the Micah Parsons-led Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with the Eagles over the Ravens in the Super Bowl. If you thought I was picking anything else than this Super Bowl champion going back-to-back.
That's hilarious. We picked the same exact Final Four. And, I went Eagles over the Ravens as well. It's extremely hard to do. I know that. I just think this team, we've talked about it all offseason, how good this team is around Jalen. Well, they're good enough to go back-to-back. I do believe it. I have the same exact Final Four teams. I do feel like it's the Ravens get over the hump years. So, and there is some weird like trajectory, like every 12 years they win a championship, something like that working on their side. I do like the Ravens to get there at least.
I know how difficult it is to not only just get back, but to obviously repeat and win it, right? And you had the Chiefs that just repeated, and you've had you've had a couple other teams do it in the history of the league, but it's very rare. It's not obviously common. But is there a team better set up to do it?
Right. Yeah.
They're a team with an owner as hungry as this team's, with a GM that is constantly looking to move up the chessboard and make moves, that brought basically every offensive weapon back outside of right guard, and they added depth on the offensive line this year to shore that up. They added wide receiver depth. And then, guys leave, right? Like that. People get, they lost Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's the least of my concerns.
Yeah.
So there's not a team for me in the last X amount of years that is better set up roster-wise, organizationally, to get back over that hump and do it. And I am excited to kick this year off with you and with everybody that follows us along in comments. That is going to wrap up this crossover of the Turf Talk season kickoff show and our Eagles-Cowboys pregame live. Guys, like I said, to start the show, make sure you can find us on Twitter at DSM_media. Hit the follow button, and then the link tree in our bio will take you to every single link we have. If you want to be active throughout the pregame shows or the Faithful Fanatic show, you're looking for the DSM Philly YouTube link. If you want to be active throughout any of our Turf Talk live streams, the Turf Talk YouTube link. Subscribe, share it, like it. We appreciate each and every one of you. Let's continue to grow. And for the first time in 2025, a go Birds, Scotty.
Go Birds!